G'day guys, I'm Dean from Blog for the Blood God.
And I'm Dalton from Risky Rollers.
And today we've joined forces to give you guys a 40k battle report that's going to be absolutely fantastic.
I'm really excited. I'm running Necrons from the Menendez Dynasty, my own custom one.
And I'm going to be running Black Legion, which is part of my ongoing Chaos Space Marines Masterclass series. So check that out. And yeah, we're going to jump straight into our lists.
Blog for the Blood God.
Alright, so I'm running the Menendez Dynasty, which is my own custom one with the lovely yellow and white scheme. And so I'm giving them the objective secured and the pre-game movement of 6 inches because it's just the best way to run Necrons, unless you're running Saracen for mortal wound stuff. This way you're on your objective and you're on it early. It's great. So I've got 2 patrols, split between these are a bunch of different stuff. For my HQs I've got 3. I've got an Overlord, she's my Warlord, she's got a Staff of Light and a Resurrection Orb, which I've spent the CP to upgrade to the Orb of Eternity. I've also got 2 Crypt decks. One's a Chronomancer, trying it out for the first time. This one, just bare bones with its Aeon Stave, giving that aura of 5+ invulnerable saves, seeing how that helps out the warriors with their durability. And then I've also got a Technomancer. I've given it the Canoptic Control node to benefit all the Canoptic stuff in the list. And I've also spent another CP to give it the Warlord trait Thrall of the Silent King, which adds 3 inches to its aura abilities, including the control node. So now within 9 inches, you get +1 to hit on all Canoptic stuff around it. Pretty good. Over in troops, I've got 2 units of 20 Necron warriors. They've all got the Reapers, which is the Strength 5 -2 1 damage gun, because it's just better. And they're just 2 bricks of 20. They're simple, straightforward. In elites, 1 in each patrol, of course, I've got the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer and a Transcendent Catan Shard. The Nightbringer knows the Sky of Falling Stars power, and the Transcendent Catan Shard has Cosmic Tyrant, of course, to use 2 powers, and knows Antimatter Meteor and Transdimensional Thunderbolt. So 2 phase-locked characters should make it pretty rough for the Black Legion to deal with. And the Nightbringer is just such a powerhouse of a unit. He's actually one of the best Abaddon counters in a single model in the game. So really keen to see how that plays out. Over in fast attack, I've got 2 units of 4 Scarabs. These guys are amazing. They're still one of the best units in the book. They score points so well. They're such a ridiculously tough unit for 15 points a model. And they move fast. There's nothing they don't do. Over in heavy support, I've got 3 Doomstalkers. These are the big War of the Worlds boys back here. They're a really cool unit. I think they're probably the best mounted firepower that the Necrons have. Yes, it's very swingy, but the ability to do it in Overwatch again all the time makes it a little bit more useful than like the Doomsday Arcs, which have the same gun for a lot more points on a much more expensive chassis. And then finally, a unit of 3 Locust Heavy Destroyers. They've all got the Gas Exterminators, or Destructors, whatever they're called, one of the big long death words. And they're sitting there with their 3d3 damage guns to just lay down some firepower and actually help out the Scarabs with some early game action and point scoring. And that rounds out the list. It's 2,000 points on the nose. I've got 3 Warlord traits and things across it. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. I'm keen to see how it goes on the table and how it plays into Dean's very nice Black Legion list.
Alrighty guys, let's go through the Chaos Space Marines, shall we? So we're doing a Black Legion list today. We've got Abaddon the Despoiler himself, because not only is he a must-have in almost every Chaos Legion, but he's an absolute must-have in any Black Legion list because of the aura buffs that he gives to your units. Then we have a Battalion detachment. In that, we have a Dark Apostle, and he has the Cloak of Conquest and the Illusory Supplication. So the Cloak of Conquest is a 6-inch aura of objective secured, which is really, really powerful when comboed with some of the other more durable, more punchy units in this book. Then Illusory Supplication for that all-important Trans Hitman, which prevents your units from getting destroyed by shooting. Then we have a Master of Possessions. He has the Liber Hereticus upgrade, and he basically allows him to use 3 psychic powers. So he has Pact of Flesh, he has Mutated Invigoration, and then he has Mark of Slanesh, which unlocks Delightful Agonies as well, and he can cast all 3 in a single phase. Then for our third all-important HQ choice, we have a Demon Prince with Wings, Hellforged Sword, and the Mark of Tzeentch. Now the reason we're taking the Mark of Tzeentch is not only because it gives him that innate durability of being able to reduce the incoming damage of 1 attack to 0, it also gives him access to a psychic power to give himself a 4-up invulnerable save, and a stratagem, which is 1 CP, that allows him to cast a psychic power and also cast a psychic action. And then for his optional psychic power, we've given him warp time. And the idea here is that he's going to be able to move forward, he's going to be able to cast his psychic action on the center of the objective, and then he's also going to be able to warp time a unit nearby to screen him and protect him from shooting. So really powerful combo there. Then we go into our troops choices. We have 2 units of 10 Chaos Cultists, just standard cultist mobs with melee weapons. They're for your backfield things like your banners and screening out enemy drops and all that really important stuff that you need to be able to do. And they're also there so that if you go up against somebody who has a significant first turn combat threat, like Death Company, for example, you can put your cultists in front of your Terminators, which means that you're protected before you get your buffs up in your turn, should your opponent go first. Then for our third troops choice, we have a unit of 10 Legionaries. They got Mark of Khorne, chainswords on all of them, and an icon in the unit. And basically this unit's going to leverage that ability to fight twice, to do massive amounts of damage. And being Black Legion Legionnaires, they also have a stratagem that allows them to turn off enemy OBSEC, which is going to be amazing in this matchup because all of these Necrons I'm about to verse all have the objective secured rule. This unit of 10 Legionnaires also rides inside of a Rhino, which gives them a little bit of extra movement and also a few different tricks and things that you can do with that Rhino. Check out my Rhino Masterclass if you want to know more about those, but we'll see whether or not I use any of those tricks in this game. We'll just sort of have to play it by ear and see how that goes. Then in our fast attack slots, we have a unit of 5 Raptors. These guys have no marks and no upgrades, and they're basically in there so that they can move out really far early in the game and raise banners early. Then we have a unit of Bikes. So this is a unit of 6, Mark of Khorne, icon in the unit, all with chainswords. And then that Biker Sergeant has the Black Mace. Now this unit is really, really powerful because you can use Abaddon's command phase ability to give them reroll all hits and wounds. Then you can move them 20 inches with an advance, and then use the Black Legion stratagem to give them Red Corsair's Legion trait, which allows them to advance and charge. Which means this unit of 6 Bikes is going in turn 1 for a charge, and they do massive amounts of damage with that Black Mace. This is a real sneaky unit that your opponent often isn't going to see coming, so definitely look into using that. It's really powerful. And then finally, in our Elites choice, we have a unit of 10 Terminators. These are your standard Terminators. You're going to see these in every Chaos Space Marine list. They're just so fucking good. And basically, they have all accursed weapons and bolters. They have the Mark of Slanesh, and they have the Black Rune of Damnation, which makes them neg 1 to be wounded, which is really, really powerful durability buff. And finally, in our heavy support slot, we have a unit of 3 Obliterators. This is to give a little bit of ranged output and support to the Chaos Space Marine list. Alrighty guys, so the mission that we're going to be playing in today's battle report is called the Scouring. As you can see, the table is set up for a Dawn of War style deployment where each player can measure in 18 inches from the short table edge for their deployment zone.
Of course, what Dean means by Dawn of War is actually hammer and anvil.
Did I say hammer? Did I say Dawn of War?
Yep.
Fuck, I'm an idiot. And then on top of that, we have the 5 objective markers. So we have one right in the center of the table there. And then from that, you can see that there's 4 arranged around them. All 4 of them are outside of deployment zones. So you actually can't deploy holding any objective markers, which is going to be interesting. However, with the Necron pre-game move, you'll be able to get up there pretty quick.
The Scouring is one of my favorite missions as it challenges the player to sort of play the game and play the objectives in a different way to any of the other ones. It forces you to move into the middle.
Yeah.
So any army that wants to compete that might run into this mission needs to be able to play in with that in mind.
And then further to that, the mission sub-primary is an action that you can do on an objective marker, and basically you scan it and you score 3 victory points if you're still there in the command phase of your following turn. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into deployment and hit you guys with first turn. Alrighty guys, let's talk about the Chaos Space Marine secondaries that I've selected. So first up, we have the Long War. Basically for this, I'm going to get a victory point every time I kill a Necron unit that's within range of an objective marker. And if I then control an objective marker at the end of my turn that Dalton controlled in his turn, or at the start of that turn, sorry, I'll score an additional 2 points. This is capped at 3 per battle round. Then for my second, I've taken banners. Now, if you want to hear a little bit more about how banners and the Long War pair, I've done a video on that as well on this channel. However, basically with banners, you move up onto an objective, you do an action, you raise a banner, and then at the start of each one of your command phases, you will generate victory points depending on how many banners are up. and your opponent can pull those banners down if they control that objective in any of the command phases, be it yours or theirs. So that's going to be a really interesting way to sort of test this out against a fast-moving objective secured like the Necrons. They're going to be pushing up into the center of the table, but I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to score at least 12 or so victory points from those banners, so that should be a good one. And then for my final secondary objective, I'm taking Warp Ritual. And that's what the Demon Prince is in the list for. He's going to be moving up into the center of the table, doing his Warp Ritual, and then killing as many Necrons as he can, and basically rinse and repeat, try to get me those sweet 12 victory points.
All right, for my 3 secondaries, I've chosen 3 Necron-specific ones. First one is Purge the Vermin. Essentially, score points for showing up to the board. Any table quarter that Dean doesn't have any units in, I score a point. I score an additional point if they're not in my deployment zone, and I do this from the first turn. So turn 1, provided that I can keep Dean out of my half of the board, I'm going to score 3 points just for showing up. So can't complain with that, and that keeps racking up as the game goes on. I've then taken Treasures of the Eons. So this one lets Dean pick 3 objective markers that aren't in his deployment zone, unless there are none others that haven't been selected yet. And then I score 2 points if I control one of them, 3 points if I control more than one, and 5 points if I control 3. And then finally, I've taken Ancient Machineries, which is another Necron-specific one, and this is where you perform an action on an objective with a Canoptech or core unit. If it has objective secured, the action finishes at the end of your turn. Very handy, considering all my units are objective secured. And then you score 4 points every time this action completes. You can only do 1 action per turn, and you can only do it on each objective once, which is a change from how it used to work, but it's still amazing, and with 3 turns, you can rack up 12 points with little to no contest for it.
Alrighty guys, there we've finished our deployment. Dalton, you want to run us through what you've set up, where and why?
Sure thing. So my list has 3 main components that you'll get to see throughout the game today. The biggest one being the 3 Doomstalkers and the little wrap of warriors will be around them. So I just started with those. They're going to be in the middle because they're going to want to be pushing into this open area here, where they get good lines of sight across the entire board, and their warriors around them can contest all 3 of these objectives, which is pretty much exactly where I need them to be. There's going to be very little change depending on how Dean deploys as to where I put those. So they went down first, and the warriors went around on each side. Knowing I've got the pre-game move means I can leave the fronts of them open because I know the warriors are going to have the ability to walk around the front of them. And the pre-game move is also really good for Doomstalkers because they have a high profile and a low profile weapon, and they can't fire the good one when they move. So having that 6 inches move beforehand to shuffle them about, get them where you need them to be, is really premium. Tucked in behind them, I've then got the Technomancer with the control node. Its aura is 9 inches rather than 6, so the +1 to hit on all these guys will be stretching for a nice wide bubble. And then I've got the Chronomancer back there as well with its bubble of the 5-up invulnerable save on both units of warriors. The Overlord's hanging out the back here as well. She can put My Will Be Done on 2 units at a time, so she's in good range for them, and also for the heavy destroyers back here. They're just screening at the moment because I don't think Dean's going to present any good targets early on, but they're within range that if I need to, I can give them an extra +1 to hit, and I'll be hitting on 2s, which is amazing. I've then got on each flank one of the catan. The Transcendent Catan is tucked in behind this building here, sort of hidden away just behind the ruin. And then I've got the Nightbringer over on this flank here. Again, just putting pressure on the different objectives, forcing Dean to sort of choose where he wants to commit his multiple phase damage to. And then I've just got 2 units of Scarabs interspersed throughout them. They're screening at the moment, and they'll be able to jump forward and score points as the game progresses. And that pretty much wraps it up. I'm hoping for pre-game to sort of shuffle me onto some objectives. Ideally, I'll get first turn, which lets me get some good scoring off early on. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to really work for it and, yeah, see what I can do with it. All right, Dean, talk us through how you've deployed.
Alrighty, so to start us off, we've got the Chaos Bikers up the front here. Deployed them in this ruin so that basically they're well protected from the pre-game move of those Doomstalkers. So even if you pre-game move, you won't get line of sight on them. So in order to shoot them, you'd have to pre-game move and do your move, which means you're firing at your low profile, which I'm not that scared of. Then we have a Chaos Rhino with some Legionnaires inside of it, which is basically going to come up the flank there, supported by some cultists at the back. And then we've got Abaddon the Despoiler here. He's there so that he can put the reroll hits and wounds early on those bikers, and then basically move to join the rest of the army in the center of that table. Then in the back behind here, we've got a big cluster of characters. So we've got a Demon Prince up the front there. He's deployed within 18 inches of the center of the table, which is going to allow him to go in and get that warp ritual early in the game. We've got the Dark Apostle and the Master of Possessions there as well, and they're protected by that unit of Terminators. So they're going to be able to, Terminators are going to be able to move forward with the Demon Prince, then get warp time to bring them closer up into the center of the table, and the characters there to support with the powers and whatnot. Then over here we have some cultists and the obliterators, and they're basically going to secure this flank. They're going to put some supporting fire down range and raise some banners on that objective. So we've got the legionnaires here. They're inside the vehicle, inside the Rhino, and then we have the 5 raptors over to the side there. And basically the goal with those raptors is so that I can use the warp strike to appear in his backfield, which is going to help with denying him secondaries, because he's going to get victory points every time I have no units in one of those quarters, and every time I have no units in his deployment zone. So the goal's got to be to get in that deployment zone as fast as possible, just to try and deny those points. Alrighty guys, we're going to roll to see who goes first. Dalton, if you'd like to do the honors.
With pleasure. A 6.
Oh, he rolls a big 6. What can I roll? Yeah,
Hey.
You're not the only one that can roll a 6.
All right, let's do that again, shall we?
Try again.
Let's go for it. Whoop, I've lost the dice there.
Off the table counts as a 1.
All right, let's try that again. A 2.
Ooh, a 2. I think I can beat a 2.
Yes, you
That's
can.
a 4. So first turn's going to the Black Legion.
Good luck. Good game.
Yes, good luck.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, do your pre-game moves and then we'll see what happens. Alrighty, Dalton's just finished his pre-game moves. Tell us about what you've done.
So, as I explained, as they were deployed to do, the Doomstalkers have just shuffled up a little bit, with the Warriors sort of forming these 2 horseshoes around them. And what this means is that all the Warriors, both Warrior units, are within 6 inches of all 3 Doomstalkers on one axis somewhere, which means that anything that charges any of the Warriors can get overwatched for free by all the Doomstalkers. So just a little bit of charge deterrent essentially works into a really nice durability buff, because 1 or 2 fewer Legionaries, 1 or 2 fewer Terminators, 1 or 2 fewer bikes into a unit of Warriors can make the difference between reanimating and nothing at all. The characters have all just shuffled around in there as well. They're all in range for all their auras and abilities. The Scarabs have shuffled up so that they are within range of this center objective, so that if I get first turn, in my first turn, they go up here and they can score points. And then these Scarabs are just screening, the Destroyers in the back are still just screening, and the ctan, of course, don't get to move at all. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to set my protocols, then go over to Dean's first turn, and see how this lasts me against the oncoming onslaught of chaos. Alright guys, so Dean's off doing his first turn, and while he's doing that, I wanted to sneak down here, show you I've got my command protocols for Necrons are all set. So it's these ones just here. Get that. That's the first one. Yep. Then I'll be moving into that one there. Yeah. That one there. Obviously, I'm not going to read them all out because I don't want Dean to know what's happening there. It'll be that one there, and then this is the one that I've got set as my permanent one. That's always on for everything. So that's pretty cool. Should be good. So over there fiddling with his Chaos hordes. All right, you've moved up. You want to show us what's happened?
All right, so basically what we've done is these bikers have moved up. They've used their advance to get up nice and close to these Necron warriors here, whilst remaining outside of line of sight of as many Doomstalkers as possible. We've got the cultists have both moved up onto their objectives and raised banners. This Rhino's moved up so that he's within 3 inches of Abaddon, who has also moved up to provide his buffs to the bikes. He used his command phase ability to put reroll all hits and wounds on the bikes, so they're going in early to do some damage.
Very spicy.
Then basically we've got the castle of Terminators moved up. The Demon Prince has moved out in front so that he's within 6 inches of the center for Warp Ritual, and then he's going to use a CP to warp time the Terminators up in front as well to protect him. And the Obliterators have moved up to just draw line of fire down range. So pretty simple movement phase. We'll get into Psychic phase now. Alrighty guys, so that's our psychic phase, short and sweet. Basically, the Demon Prince, he did a warp ritual, which was successful, so that gets me my victory points early in the game. And then he used the stratagem to use an additional psychic power, which is just use warp time to move these Terminators up so that they're threatening that objective turn 1. And then basically my Master of Possessions back here, he did Delightful Agonies, Mutated Invigoration, and then he used Pact of Flesh to regenerate all of the wounds and all of the damage that were done by his Sacrificial Dagger. So you can basically do D3 mortal wounds to the unit, gives him +2 to his casts, and then in his last cast you use that to bring the model back to life if you killed any, and heal any that took damage. So really successful psychic phase, didn't fail anything, which is a great start to the game. Alrighty guys, so we're going to shoot our Obliterators into one of those Doomstalkers, because they've got the big scary guns that I'm quite concerned about. So we're using the Ruinous Salvo, which gives them D3 +3 shots each. So we've got 2 shots on this guy, 3 shots on this guy, 3 shots on this guy, plus another 3 each. 1, 2, 3.
Very nice.
So this is their number of shots. Now these are going to be hitting you on 3s.
-1 because I'm in dense.
You're in dense, correct. So hitting you on 4s. However, we're in Wanton Destruction.
Very
so
nice.
Exploding 6s. And we rolled a single 6, which is disappointing.
Disappointing for you. I'm quite happy with that.
So there's our hits, and then we get 1 additional hit from that 6. And then we are winning you on 3s.
Strength 7 into toughness 4. Toughness 6, sorry.
So we've got not a massive amount of damage there, but it's not too bad. So
you
4 saves for you.
AP 3. Now I've got a 4-up invulnerable save on Doomstalkers. So I'll hold 1 back, but I'll roll the other 3. Alright, I passed 2 of them, and I'll just roll the 3rd one. Pass that one as well.
Alright, so
I'll
a
take
single
2
wound
damage.
goes through.
2 damage apiece, yep.
Yeah, single wound for 2 damage.
Cool. So that Doomstalker is down to 10 wounds remaining.
Alrighty guys, into the charge phase now. We've got these Chaos Bikers here. They're going in to charge those Necron Warriors. Let's roll a nice big charge range. I think we needed an 8. And that'll do it with a 9. And then Dalton, you said you wanted to Overwatch me, correct?
Yes, so the Doomstalker overwatches for free. It's part of its data sheet ability for anything within 6 inches. Since your bikers are charging the warriors, this Doomstalker will Overwatch them. This one could, but it can't see them either.
Yes.
So D6 shots for its
and you're
big
capped
main
at a
cannon.
minimum of 3 because that's a unit of 6 bikers. So
Yep, so that
roll
one
a
becomes
1.
a 3.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Hitting
Now
on
I'm hitting on 5s, which is very nice. Especially when you roll 2 of them.
It's not bad.
It's strength 10, so it's wounding you on 2s.
Yep.
I do have a 1 CP stratagem, Techno-Oracular Targeting, where I could automatically make one of them wound.
Yep. I don't think it's worth it
I
when
think
you
in this
roll
case,
it on 2s.
yeah, exactly. Which I do.
And AP.
AP -5.
So it becomes -4. So no saves.
And these are D6 damage each. Now you're 3 wounds apiece, aren't you?
Correct. So
This is
roll your
why I'm
first
saving
one.
my CP, because ideally you're going to pop 2 bikers. First one, pops a biker.
Yep. And then second one.
Ooh, there's 2 damage.
So do you want to CP reroll that too to try and kill a biker on a 3+?
I think I probably do. Necrons don't have a lot of use for the CP, so I'm just going to use it to do damage.
Sounds good.
Yep.
2 bikers down.
Very nice.
All right, let's move in and do some fighting. Alrighty, let's roll out these bikers into these warriors. So we're going to do the first 3 guys are the ones with just their chainswords. So they're hitting on 3s, but they are getting full rerolls from Abaddon.
Very nice.
So, not that we really needed it, not with a roll like that.
Wow. Yep.
That's a 100% hit rate,
Yep.
which is very good to see. And then they are going to be winning you on 3s because they are Mark of Khorne for +1 strength.
Strength
So
5 into toughness 4. Very nice.
3s with rerolls.
Yep. Again from Abaddon.
Yep. So there you go. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 wounds to make. 11 saves to make.
Yep.
These are at AP 2.
AP 2, so I'm saving these on 6s.
Yes.
Which
Oh,
I
there's
roll
quite a few 6s in
number
there.
of. So I roll 4 of those, which means 7 of them will be biting the dust.
And then we top that off with the 4 attacks from the Black Mace.
Yep.
So these, again, are going to be hitting you on 3s with rerolls.
Yep.
So that's all hits. If only we were in Wanton Slaughter. So 4 hits, and then these are going to be winning you on 2s with rerolls as well.
Cool. Knocking buildings all over the place.
All right, so that is 4 wounds.
Yep.
These are striking you at AP 3 because the Black Mace is AP 2, and then the icon gives them +1, so no saves, correct?
5 up invulnerable saves, which I forgot about last time.
Okay.
The Chronomancer gives the Warriors 5 up invulnerable saves.
So 5 ups.
Yep. Which I make 2 of.
Okay, so that is another 6 dead because it's 3 damage, and that damage spills over.
Which is very nice.
We killed 7 and then another 6, so 13 in total.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6.
Did you want to do your fighting back now?
Reanimation happens now.
That
Before
happens
fighting back.
this way. So 13, so...
Yep. 6, I'll grab a couple more dice. 12 and 13. So reanimating on 5s, but rerolling 1s because of their warriors.
Yep.
Okay, rerolling those 2 1s. I'm seeing 4 successes so far. All right, just 4 successes.
So you get to bring back 4 warriors.
Yep, can't complain with that. And I'll place those over here with an engagement range. And also back here to maintain that screen. In fact, they get to move next turn anyway, so that'll be fine there. Cool. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them that can fight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They'll be hitting on 3s, winning you on T4, T5.
T5.
All right, hitting on 3s, winning on 5s.
It's not a bad hit roll.
Cool. And then 5s to wound. All right, 3 wounds. No AP though.
3 up saves. So it puts a wound on a bike.
Yep, can't complain with that.
So yeah, if I had the full unit of bikes, I reckon I probably would have wiped that unit because
There were only 7 of them remaining after that. So, yeah.
And the 3 guys that fought first, they killed 7. So it's not unrealistic to think this biker unit could go in and kill a unit of 20 warriors in a single fight if they make it in without taking casualties.
Yep. All right, so I finished up my movement phase. So let's have a look at where things have gone. The Doomstalkers, of course, all stayed put because they're quite happy where they are. These warriors fell back. A couple of them are chained back here to help screen for raptors. And the other ones are sort of strung through the middle here, hidden inside all these bushes. The 3 heavy destroyers have moved up here. They've got My Will Be Done from the Overlord, and she also put it on this unit of warriors here. These warriors have also just shuffled forward a little bit, making sure there's a pretty solid screen through here. It's going to be really hard to get anything into these Doomstalkers without taking that. These Scarabs have jumped forward. They control this objective, and they're performing the Awaken Ancient Machinery's action on it. So that'll score me 4 points at the end of my turn. The Nightbringer has moved up here and done his Catan powers. And then these Scarabs are still just screening over here. This Catan moved up as well, also did its Catan powers. Now, between the 2 of them, they killed a couple of cultists and a couple of bikers, as well as put some wounds on a Terminator. And then some incidental, little shooting from over here, then dealt with the other bikes that were hanging out on the objective. So the only thing left to do for shooting is for my Doomstalkers and Heavy Destroyers to go on into these Terminators. So let's go roll that one out. All right, so we are starting with the 3 Doomstalkers into the Terminators. So they can all see the unit. This one sort of around the back and through the front, and these guys straight through the middle.
Yep, so you might as well roll them all together.
The reason that I won't is because they're all blast weapons, so that if I get really lucky and the first 1 or 2 kills a bunch of them, the third one becomes less efficient.
Fair enough.
So I'll roll them
one at a time. Go nuts, yep.
So the first number of shots, 4 shots, very nice. Hitting on 3s. Cool, 3 hits. Wounding you on 2s, but 3s because you've got a -1 to wound on them.
Correct, yep.
Which is from...
what strength are they?
Strength 10.
Okay, cool. Yep, sick. Because I'm toughness 5, so...
Yep, so 2s to 3s.
Yep.
Oh, and these are all extra AP as well, so they go from AP 5 to AP 6.
Oh, Jesus. So just taking it on the invulnerable saves.
Yep.
So 1 gets through, passes, the other 2 get through.
So I'm not going to reroll any of these damage rolls anyway, so the first one is 1 damage. And it kills the 1 dude who was wounded.
Depending on my Delightful Agonies rolls. Okay, so neither of the Delightful Agonies passed, so that's 1 dead Terminator because he took a wound earlier.
Yep.
So I'll take one of these guys from the back and you can keep rolling.
And then there's the 2 flares at the front as well. The little Pidgey guns with...
Geez, roll more 6s, mate.
If you want me to, sure. Okay.
I didn't mean it!
So that's 2 wounds. That one's at AP 2, so that.
Okay, so
3
the,
up.
so the first
3 up
one's a
and a
2 up save, and then I've got a guy in cover, so he'll take that. So
Yeah. Cool. All right, the next Doomstalker, D6 shots. 3. Cool. Hitting on 3s. Okay. And then wounding on 3s. All right, 1 wound.
wound, 5 up invulnerable
Cool.
save
Loves
passes.
it. And then the 2 front ones both hit. 1 wound. No relevant AP.
So
Cool.
fails his invulnerable. Actually, no, this is the flayers.
the
Yep,
flayer.
cool.
And then the final one, D6 shots. 5 shots.
Oof.
All right, hitting on 3s.
Oof.
Very nice. Now, I'm not going to use my single CP to reroll that because I have extra CP. I have extra stratagems that are better for wounding.
Yep, checks
So
out.
4 wounds. I'm going to roll 2 of them to start with and hold 2 back. They're both wounded, one of which is an extra AP. So I'll roll another one, which doesn't wound because you're -1 to wound. So what I'm tempted to do here is to either spend 1 CP to automatically wound this one, or roll it and then use a reroll on it. I think the roll with the reroll is the better option.
I agree, because you're wounding
So-
on 3s. It's pretty
Exactly.
probably you're going to get the wound anyway.
Yeah. So and I might get that 6, which is handy. Actually, I don't think it matters for you here, but yeah. Fails.
Fail.
So CP reroll on that one because I don't need anything else for this turn. Does wound,
All right, so we got 3 wounds through.
Yep.
One of them's at higher AP.
but I don't think they matter because you're all
Correct. So,
5 invulns
so I'll just do
anyway.
the invulns, 5 up invulns. Yeah, you're not the only
nice.
one that can roll 6s,
There you go.
motherfucker. So 1 gets through. What damage are you doing to me?
just the 1
Single
damage.
and delightful agonies. So you did another single wound.
Well, the 2 flayers will clear that up. They both hit.
One wound.
1 wounds.
And that's a 2 up save.
Hey.
Fails.
Okay.
Delightful agonies. Oh, so there's another wound.
Yep. Cool.
And then you
all
got
right.
your other destroyer dudes.
It's annoying that one of them's on 1 wound.
Yeah, because
because-
you're about to hit me with multi-damage.
Yeah, but so be it. These guys are hitting on 2s. They all hit, wounding you on 3s naturally because strength 9.
So it becomes 4s, but you get...
Oh, well, gotcha.
Yep.
And that's at AP -5. These are both at AP -4.
So it's all 5 up anyway. Actually, I'll do the AP -4 because I've got a guy in cover.
Gotcha.
So that becomes a 4 up. Thank you, Armor of Contempt, you mad motherfucker.
All right. Cool.
So is that all you're shooting?
That is all the shooting.
All right, so you actually threw the bulk of your shooting at me.
Yep.
You killed 1 Terminator and wounded another. So in my turn,
Yep.
I'm going to be able to use my
Pact of Flesh
Pact
to
of Flesh to
regenerate
bring
that.
that guy back and recover the wounds. So
So
effectively, no
be
damage
it.
done.
That's fine. You go for the damage with Necrons because it's so swingy. You've got to try and go for when it swings big, and when it doesn't, you just got to eat it. So yeah.
Alrighty, so that's the end of my movement phase. So basically what we've got is the Terminator unit. They've moved up into the center of the table and all those characters are coming in for support. So the Demon Prince is going to get his 2nd warp ritual. We're going to get a bunch of buffs on those characters and we've used our movements and our command phase stuff there. Then we've got these Obliterators have moved over and the idea here is we're going to try and combo the shooting of the Obliterators and all the shooting of the Terminators into that wounded warrior unit and hopefully wipe that off the table. And then the Terminators are going to go for the charge into this other warrior unit and hopefully wipe that off the table as well. To support this, we've had the Rhino. He's moved up to here. He scored me the data scan for the mission sub-primary last turn, and now he's moved up here. These cultists are now doing the scan on this objective, so because they raised a banner last turn, they're doing a scan this turn. And Abaddon's just moved up to sort of support and hopefully get into the fight a little bit later. Other than that, we've got the Warp Strike. The Raptors have come down over here, and basically they're going to go for a charge, hopefully make a 9-inch natural charge into these warriors here, and then tag those heavy destroyers to prevent them from shooting me in the later turns of the game. So, pretty strong movement phase. We're going to go into Psychic now, and we'll let you know how that goes. Alrighty guys, so that's the end of my shooting and psychic phase. So basically, Psychic Phase was another 100% unmitigated success, and this is largely attributed to the Ritual Dagger, which is able to essentially give you +2 to your casts. So Chaos Space Marines are very reliable casters. The Demon Prince did his Warp Ritual, and he didn't need to spend a CP this turn for a Warp time, because I'm planning to charge those Terminators in. Then we basically went into the shooting phase. We had Abaddon shot down into that Catan over there with his mighty Talon of Horus. The weapon that managed to kill Sanguinius failed to do any damage whatsoever to a Catan. And then basically, so he did nothing. Then we had the Obliterators shot into this unit of warriors. I think there was 13 left at the start of the phase. And the Obliterators just deleted the whole unit, which was really impressive. I was surprised by that. I think the anti-infantry capacity of the Obliterators is massive, with D6 +9 shots. Really
I'd
big.
rely on those to wipe a unit of 20 warriors from scratch every time.
And I was rolling it was 9 + 1. I rolled 1 for my D6, I rolled 2 for my D6. It's still just so many fucking shots at a strength 5 AP 1. It's just really good. And then we had basically the Terminators then, now knowing that unit had been destroyed, decided to fire all of their weapons into the Doomstalker. I used a stratagem to get +1 to hit on the Terminators and a stratagem for +1 to the AP, just because I was like, if I take this opportunity to kill that Doomstalker and then charge in and kill these warriors, then Dalton's going to be in a really tricky position. So, and it's also one less Doomstalker that can overwatch me when I do charge, which means I'm likely to get in with more Terminators. So it's a sort of a win-win situation. So I thought better to burn the CP now and get the damage while I can. So yeah, we're going to go into charges, resolve our combats, and then we'll get back to you at the end of the turn. Alrighty, so we've done some fights, we've done some interesting stuff. So basically the Terminators came in over here, they charged the unit of warriors. Dalton did Overwatch with the 2 big guys, and he also spent the CP to Overwatch with the unit of 20 warriors. And through all of that Overwatch, he only managed to kill 1 single solitary Terminator.
I almost got the second one.
You almost got the second one.
He had 1 wound. He rolled a lot of saves.
But yeah, luckily the Terminators were in cover at the time, so they were getting 2-up saves against all of those Reaper shots, so managed to shrug off a lot of that. And then through a combination of, the neg 1 to wound and the delightful agonies, basically.
The inbuilt negative 1 to wound is such a frustrating thing to go into with those Terminators.
So they basically came in and they just wiped out that unit. And the Demon Prince also made a charge in there, which was a risky play because it meant that the Doomstalkers would get to Overwatch again into the Demon Prince, and they are D6 damage, so they have the capacity to punk that Demon Prince. However, being Mark of Tzeentch, he ignores the first failed save, so I was pretty confident he was going to survive, and they only did 1 wound, so he just shrugged that and took no damage. And that basically allowed him to go in and put some damage into those Scarabs, which he only killed 1 Scarab base. So that massive sword swung and only killed 1 base.
Well, it's a swarm. It probably killed like 30 Scarabs in one swing.
Yeah, true.
But they're just Scarabs.
But yeah, them being on 4 wounds and him only being 3 damage makes it quite difficult. And then, yeah, so we've pretty much moved up. We've taken the center. I have exposed my characters at this stage of the game. But basically, I'm putting Dalton in a position where he needs to decide, does he try to punk my characters? Or does he go back and try to deal with the Raptors? Or does he go in hard on the Terminators? He can't do all 3 of those things. So he's going to have a difficult decision on what he does. So we'll jump into Dalton's turn and we'll let you know how we go.
All right, so I've moved up and I've done my Catan powers. These Scarabs have just jumped forward here. They're doing the Ancient Machineries action on this objective, which will score me 4 points at the end of my turn. The Heavy Destroyers have moved onto this objective and are performing the Strategic Scan sub-primary action, which will score me another 2 points at the end of this turn. The start of my next turn. And because of my current command protocol, they get to shoot as well. And they've got good lines of fire everywhere there. I've made sure all my characters are in range of the Raptors, to try and put some incidental shooting in and try and clear them out. But I'm not committing hard to dealing with them, because I think I've got more urgent targets that will actually help me with points a little bit more. The Doomstalkers, of course, have stayed still. The Nightbringer has jumped over here. A quick note on the bases. The model's quite large, so I've given it a nice large base here. But the official model is on a 40 mil. So this 40 mil circle of rock on its base is what we're actually measuring from. He's moved over here. He did his Gaze of Death and killed a Terminator and a half. And then his Sky of Falling Stars didn't do anything to Terminators, but put some wounds over here. Then the other ctan, the Transcendent, moved up and whiffed both of his ctan powers and did fuck all. So he's having a grand old time over there.
He did sweet fuck all.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll be into shooting where we've got good lines of fire on these characters. And I'm happy enough that Nightbringer can probably kill about 5 Terminators. So if I can deal with another 2 or 3 of them with shooting first, then I'm happy enough for the Nightbringer to go in there and kill them, and I can allocate shooting into these characters, try and clear out the center, clear out your buffing power, and try and take back a bit of the control of the center of the board. Okay, so I'm going to start with this first Doomstalker. It's going to put everything into the Terminators, and I'll start with the Flare array on its front, because one of the Terminators has 2 wounds remaining. So I want to try and just pop those off nice and early. I'm not going to do that with that though, am I? So no, I will. I'll start with the large weapon, the Doomsday Blaster. Yep. So D6 shots with a minimum of 3. All right, so 3 shots.
3 shots.
It's going to be hitting on 3s. All right, so 2 hits. And then this will be wounding you on 2s, but up to 3s.
Yes, thanks to the Black Rune of Damnation.
Yep. Which is very nice.
2 wounds.
These are AP -5.
So 5 up invulnerable saves. 1 gets through.
Cool. So on a 2+, well, so you've got 2 wounds
damage.
left. Does 6 wounds.
6 wounds. And then I have Delightful Agonies.
So 5 up invulnerable saves.
So this is the Delightful Agonies. So 4 would get through, so that kills 1 Terminator.
Cool. And then I'll do the flares because it's all that's left.
I'll just record this over here.
Yep. So 2 misses, 2 hits, and then 4s, nothing. No. Cool. So I'll move on to, I think the next Doomstalker will do the same thing.
I think that's wise.
Starting with the big cannon.
Yep.
5 shots.
Oof.
Very nice. Hitting on 3s. Ooh. And then wounding on 3s. I'd love it if this was wounding on 2s. Oof, there we go.
4. So
Cool.
5 up invulnerable saves.
Yep.
Alright.
Ooh,
so
very nice.
2 get through. The first one does D6 damage.
Yep, I do still have a CP if I need it, which, oh my god, I kind of do here. I've got a CP reroll that.
Yep.
Going for the bigger damage because I need to pop these Terminators. Oh, hold on.
Famous mistake of re-rolling the same dice.
Yeah.
So Finna Pains from Delightful Agony, so 1 gets through, so he takes a wound.
So he's got 2 wounds left.
Yep, and then he's...
Takes 5.
Oh, that was from the second shot, yes, correct, yep. Which he does 4, so that kills him, so that's the second Terminator dead.
Cool.
And then you got your little flare guns as well.
Yep. Which 3 hits.
Yep, wounding on 5s.
Oh, 3 wounds.
This motherfucker.
Okay. I can roll 6s here, just not when it
So
counts.
these would be 2-ups as well from cover.
Yep.
So, yep.
Cool. All right. So I think what...
So you killed 2 Terminators. You got the other 3 heavy destroyers to shoot as well.
I do, and I've also got all these characters here. I think what I want to do is see how these characters go into the Raptors, and then I can decide about how many shots to allocate where. So I've got 1 Terminator. Oh, there's no wounded Terminators, is there?
Correct.
Cool. So I'll start with the Overlord going into the Raptors.
Yep.
Hitting on 2s. Cool. And then wounding on 3s with strength 5. Cool. These
2
are
wounds.
-2.
So 4-ups. So it kills 2. Oh,
Yep,
actually,
kills
single
1.
damage.
Single damage
so
each.
1 dead Raptor.
Cool. And then I'll do the same thing with the next one, the Starflight from the Cryptek. Hitting on 3s.
2
Wounding on
hits.
3s. 1 wound to -2.
So wound
1
him.
damage. And then the Aeon Stave from the other Cryptek. 2 shots, hitting on 3s. Both hit. And then wounding on 3s, 1 wound. You can't take invulns, but it's not relevant here.
Passes the save.
Loves it. Cool.
So you killed
So-
1 Raptor. And you
one
killed
Raptor.
2 Terminators.
There's 6 Terminators left there. So the Nightbringer, I'm happy, will probably kill about 5 of them. 1 Terminator is annoying, but it's not a big brick that's going to just wipe me out. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take these destroyers. I'm going to put... I could put them into the Blitz as well. But I think what I want to try and do is clear out some of these characters, stop some of these annoying overlapping buffs that are going on.
Yep.
So I'm going to put one of them into the Demon Prince.
Yep.
Because I've got a nice charge over here.
Yep.
And I'm going to put 2 of them into the Master of Possession.
Master of Possessions.
I don't want you healing things up anymore.
Fair
gotta
enough.
stop. Okay.
All right, fair enough.
So the 2 into the Master of Possessions, hitting on 2s, thanks to my will be done. Both hit,
Oof.
wounding on 2s.
Yep.
Both wound. These are at -4.
So he has a 5-up invulnerable save.
Yep.
Ooh. So 1 gets through.
Now this is 3d3 damage.
Okay.
And now you're 5 wounds?
5 wounds. So
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6 wounds. So that kills my Master of Possessions. That is something I desperately did not want to happen. So
yes,
well
that's
played.
why I did. It's got to die.
Yep.
And then the Demon Prince. Now he's Mark of Tzeentch, isn't he?
Yes.
There's no point throwing 1 into him.
Correct.
All right. Well, that was silly of me. All good.
Because yes, the reason that doesn't matter is because I will automatically reduce the damage of the first failed save to 0.
Yeah. So I should have thrown that into the Blitz or the Dark Disciples or the Apostle something. All good. So I think that wraps
no more
up shooting
then. All right. So we'll get into the charges and we'll come back. Alrighty guys, we've just finished the charge phase. The Nightbringer has gone into these Terminators and the Transcendent Katana has gone into the Demon Prince. We're going to roll out the Nightbringer on camera because I think this one could be quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's got 6 attacks with its Entropic Blow profile, which is its big scythe.
Yep.
It's going to be hitting you on 2s, wounding you on 3s.
Yep.
You'll be saving on 5s, and then you can't take invulnerable saves, and you can't take Feel No Pains.
Alright, roll it out.
2s. All right.
There we go, so 1 miss, that's good.
Perfectly average, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
And then 3s, because you're -1 to wound is very nice. Not that it matters.
Fuck. Okay, so chuck us those 5. Now these are going to be my 5-up saves. Now I don't get invulnerable saves against this, but Armor of Contempt puts me on 5-ups anyway.
Exactly.
Ooh, I like
very
your
nice.
dice. So that's going to be 3d6 damage.
Yep. And these, you cannot make Feel No Pains against these.
Correct. So the first
one kills a Terminator.
Doesn't kill a Terminator.
Why?
And
I don't think having 3 wounds go through is enough to warrant.
does he want to CP reroll that too? It would be a last CP.
Last CP, it means your Demon Prince, I won't be able to remove its invulns. 4-up invuln.
Yeah.
But I think I want to. I think the Terminators are a bigger issue for me.
Okay, cool. So he's
I'll
going to
reroll that.
reroll it.
There you
that
go.
kills the second one, and now you got your 3rd damage to come through, which only does 1
God.
anyway. All right, so 2 Terminators die, and we'll resolve the Demon Prince off camera. Alrighty, there we have the end of the phase. So basically the Demon Prince survived. He took 5 damage from the Catan, and then on the swing back I did 3 damage to the Catan and 3 damage to the Nightbringer, thanks to the phase lock.
Absolutely. It makes them such a hard unit to shift because you've got to just do that damage in multiple phases across the game.
Sounds good. All right, let's get into my turn. Alrighty, we've got some pretty big plays happening this turn. So we've got the Raptors that were here have moved up in behind this ruin so that they can charge these Doomstalkers without being overwatched because they won't be in line of sight thanks to the obscuring rule. We've got the Legionnaires, the Mark of Khorne Legionnaires have disembarked out of their Rhino. They've moved up, and the Rhino has also moved up to do another layer of absorbing overwatch. So the goal is going to be to have both of these guys tagged before the Legionnaires charge in to these heavy destroyers. Then we've got the combat over here. So Abaddon's moved up into the center of the table, and he's going to be trying to engage with this Catan. And then the Demon Prince, he's going to use Warp Ritual to get my last one, and then he's going to spend a CP to also be able to do a smite into that combat. And if we roll big on that smite, we might be able to actually kill this Catan. Then these 4 Terminators have fallen back out of combat with the Nightbringer, so there's 4 of them on this objective. And my Dark Apostle, who gives a 6-inch aura of objective secured, has advanced and moved over to give it to them, which means that this objective is going to be contested. So I'm looking to push Dalton to a 0-point primary here. And then finally, we've got the Obliterators that were up on this objective back here. They've moved up, and their goal is going to be to shoot, put a bunch of bullets into the Nightbringer, take 3 wounds off him, and then charge him. And with any luck, we're going to do another 3 wounds there. So I'm asking for a lot out of my army in this turn, but if even half of what I want goes the way I want, it's going to be a massive turn. Alrighty guys, quick recap. So the Psychic phase was pretty short. We just did a smite into the Catan that was previously here, and then we used the CP so that we could cast Warp Ritual and got my 3rd and final Warp Ritual. Then we did a little bit of shooting with the Obliterators into the Nightbringer. They took the 3 wounds off, nothing too dramatic there. all the drama was in the fight phase. So we had the Raptors moved up here. Unfortunately, they failed their charge.
With a reroll.
With a CP reroll, which basically meant that these Doomstalkers were able to overwatch. Then we charged the Rhino in, hoping that the Rhino would survive the charge and then block their things.
What Rhino is that? Because
The Rhino that's currently in the scrapyard got fucking obliterated by these motherfuckers. So they shot and killed that Rhino, which then meant I had to charge the Legionnaires in with no support. And in Overwatch, I think you killed 4 out of that unit. So that was unexpected and not ideal.
And the combat's worked out poorly for you as well, because you killed 2 destroyers,
but then
one of them got back up,
one.
and then I'm going to resurrect another one next turn innately as well.
So not ideal. However, I did manage to take that objective, and I do contest this one. Another thing that I didn't realize when I was doing my movement phase is there's some cheeky little scarabs hidden inside this ruin, which I didn't factor into my plan. And then basically Abaddon charged in, the Demon Prince was already engaged in combat, so I had to fight with Abaddon first, which meant I had to make the difficult decision on whether or not he puts his attacks into the Scarabs or the ctan. And basically, the Demon Prince was going to get to fight the ctan. However, if Abaddon fought into the Scarabs, the ctan was going to fight before the Demon Prince, because the Demon Prince is Mark of Zeech. And then he probably would have killed the Demon Prince, and then the ctan would have survived, which would have been a huge swing, and that would have been just unacceptable. So basically, Abaddon put all of his attacks into that catan and killed it. And that means that Dalton has still got these Scarabs controlling that central objective, which is not part of my plan.
Although all of that talk about keeping the Demon Prince alive, when the catan exploded, it just killed the Demon Prince.
Correct. And so the as you can see, the Nightbringer is also gone. Basically, the Obliterators, they took the remaining 3 wounds off of him in combat, and then the Nightbringer exploded, doing D3 mortal wounds to everybody nearby, which he put a couple of wounds on the Terminators, killed the 2 Disciples out of the Dark Apostles unit, and killed an Obliterator that was already wounded. And then the other catan exploded, which killed the Demon Prince, and it's like, wow, more of my shit died from explosions caused by these fucking Transcendent catan than anything else. So that was a bit of a disaster, to be honest. However, I do still have Abaddon, who has only taken 1 wound, I believe,
2
or
wounds.
2. 2 wounds from that explosion, so that's fine. He's still in his top bracket. And Dalton's ability to deal with Abaddon is now effectively nil, because all of his remaining damage is going to be coming from shooting. And Abaddon's primely positioned right in the center of the table there, so he's going to be doing some serious work. And also these 2 units, the Heavy Destroyers and that Doomsday, are tied up in combat with those Legionnaires. So if they're going to fall back, they're going to have to fall back and shoot. So they won't be able to shoot, which is pretty cool. So all in all, I'm pretty happy. Like I said at the start, I was like, if just half of what I'm trying to do here works, it puts me in a pretty strong position. And I think that more or less half of what I wanted to do happened. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. And yeah, we'll jump into the next turn.
All right, so right down on the edge of what I can do, but I'm going to push the game, get at every point I can. So the Doomstalker that was here has moved across here onto this objective, thus giving me control of the objective so that these Scarabs can do the Ancient Machineries action, meaning I will have done it on this one, and this one, which will get me another 4 points this turn. These Scarabs have just fallen back away from Abaddon, so they do control the objective, because they're objective secured and there's 4 of them. But Abaddon is now more or less free to do what he likes. This Doomstalker has fallen back out of combat with the Legionaries, as have these Heavy Destroyers, one of them being healed by the Technomancer. Now they're jumping over there. They don't currently control the objective, they just contest it, but the plan is to kill them, to take the objective, and kill these Raptors to clear the table quarter and my deployment zone, thereby scoring me Purge the Vermin, Ancient Machineries, and Treasures of the Aeons. So it's a big play, but if I can score all those secondaries and just keep myself in the game, we'll see how things go from there.
All right, Dalton, probably the most exciting combat phase of your life. Recap us through.
All right, so in shooting, I killed like 5 of these Legionaries with the Doomstalker and the other miscellaneous shooting. 1 of them remained, so I charged in with both Cryptex and took 1 wound off it, with their single attack each.
Good old Necron combat.
Oh yeah. The Overlord charged in here and did screw all.
Yep.
And then got hit for nothing in return.
And
then
then
Abaddon
Abaddon.
heroically intervened into the Scarabs because there's no way to be on an objective while Abaddon's on it and not be within heroic intervention range, and he just picked them all up. So, yeah.
So you got your points, but
I've got 4 of my points.
Yeah.
You've denied me 2 of the secondaries I was going for there, so I think that's probably a pretty big swing in it. But yeah, we'll see how things go, see how we score up with the next turn.
relatively simple movement phase. Abaddon the Despoiler's moved up off the central objective here. He's going in for the kill. He's going to try and kill those Locust Heavy Destroyers. Then we've got the Obliterators have moved up here so that they're touching that ruin so they can shoot through the windows and hopefully kill these Scarabs. If that fails, the Terminators are there to pick up the pieces. But if it succeeds, the Terminators and the Obliters are going to be able to charge this big Doomstalker motherfucker. These cultists are just hanging back, chilling. They don't really care. They're fucking having a good old time in the woods there. There's like a little banana lounge chair, and they're, got the getting some sun on that topless fucking... Anyway, this guy has moved over onto here, so he's an objective secured model, and he's raising a banner. So now we're going to, at the end of this turn, hopefully have 3 banners raised. And other than that, these cultists over here have advanced forward so that they're still stringing back to hold that objective. But next turn, they're going to be able to leapfrog out onto the other one after those destroyers are dead. And the goal there will be that I'll be able to raise a banner there as well. So the idea is trying to get lots of banners up late game so that even though I was only scoring 2 banners each turn, I'm going to try and score 4 or 5 in the last turn, and that should skyrocket that banner's score. So yeah, pretty simple. We'll jump into shooting and all that shit, and we'll get back here. Alrighty, so finished all of our phases. So shooting-wise, the Obliterators and the Terminators put all of their shots into the Scarabs and killed them. Then Abaddon put his Talon of Horus into this Doomstalker and did nothing. Then we basically did some pistols and irrelevant stuff over there. We went in with some charges. Through Overwatch from these Doomstalkers, so he actually killed an Obliterator and a Terminator, which was annoying. However, they were still able to get their charge in and use their charge range to use their charge distance to get them within 6 inches of this Apostle, so that they give the Terminators back to being objective secured, which means I control this objective once again. Abaddon charged the unit of heavy destroyers over there and just obliterated them. Then we had this ongoing combat over here between the Raptors and this Overlord. No damage dealt on either side. Then over here, this Legionnaire fought and killed the Chronomancer, or the...
Technomancer.
Technomancer, some kind of Mancer. Then this Chronomancer fought and actually hit and wounded the Legionnaire. So I had to roll my save, which I failed, which would have given Dalton control of that objective because that Chronomancer's objective secured. So I had to spend my last CP on a reroll of an armor save on a Legionnaire just so that I can continue to control that objective, which worked in my favor. So very strong turn for the Black Legion, and it's just a matter of bringing it home now.
All right, so turn 4 was just a couple of desperate plays, try and get some extra points on the board, which didn't pay off, but I'll walk through them anyway. The Doomstalkers just shuffled around. This one comes up here and contests the objective with the Dark Apostle. And this one moves over here, falling back just so it can shoot. The Chronomancer also came over here. He wanted to try and shoot and charge and do some stuff there, but none of that worked out. As you can see, the Dark Apostle's still there. All the shooting went into it and didn't do a whole lot. The lower damage profile on the Doomstalkers really doesn't do a whole lot. Back here, the Overlord finally killed a guy and took a couple of wounds in return. So that might be changing. So at the end of that, I don't actually score any points for any of the secondaries because, yeah, nothing's really going off.
Alrighty, pretty straightforward. Turn 5 for the Chaos Space Marines. We basically had this Legionnaire here. He's moved back onto the back of that objective and raised a banner. The Terminators have over here. They've raised a banner as well. So we've got banners on all 5 objectives now. The cultists that were stringing out, they were basically going forward in an instance where I was expecting that Legionnaire to die. so that they could raise a banner over there. But since he survived, well, they can go back to where they were. And that way I'm also got a unit in that quarter to deny more of Dalton's secondaries. These cultists have literally done fuck all game, but they're holding their weight, they're doing the job.
Holding their objectives, they're scoring points.
Abaddon's moved up and he's basically gone in and charged this big Doomstalker here. And basically taken it off that objective. And I've used the movement of these Terminators and Obliterator to block this objective so that this Doomstalker won't be able to move on because it's a monster, it can't go through walls. And if he wants to try to go for that one over there, he's got a decent charge range that he needs to make in order to get on there. So realistically, his best bet is to try to go in here and kill the Apostle so that he can take objective secured away from Abaddon and then jump on that objective himself. So we'll do that and we'll get back to you.
All right, so turn 5 for the Necrons was very short. Not a whole lot happened. I only had 2 models left on the board. The Overlord over here continued his pillow fight with the Raptors. Is there one of them left? 2 of them
There
left.
is 2.
All right, so they're carrying on over there, not doing a whole lot. The Doomstalker moved over here, shot the Dark Apostle for shits and giggles, and then failed its charge with a reroll into that Berserker, therefore not giving me any points at the end of that game. And that's pretty much it. I don't score anything that turn.
Yep. All right, cool. Alrighty guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that battle as much as we did. We're going to do a quick recap of the scores and then we're going to do a bit of a breakdown of some of the noteworthy events and the things that we enjoyed the most. So, Dalton, did you want to go through your scores first?
Yep, so I ended up with 47 points over the whole thing, mainly due to those early turn scoring of the secondaries. You managed to shut me down on Purge the Vermin really well. I only scored, I think, 4 points for that over the course of the whole game. So that was really nice, well done. And then I had Treasures of the Aeons and Awakened Ancient Machineries.
Yep.
The Ancient Machineries I got 12 on, which is fairly standard. That's what that tends to do.
Yep.
But Treasures of the Aeons, because I had to keep throwing units into the center and you kept taking it off me, I only scored 6 on that one.
Yep.
So that, yeah.
Yep. And for my scores, so I scored a max 45 on the primary, which was really good. So combination of being able to just control that center and also the actions on those backfield objectives, scanning those. So I got a 45 points there. I got my full 12 points for Warp Ritual just before the Demon Prince died. So he literally, in my turn, cast his last Warp Ritual and then died from an explosion.
Yep.
So,
which was pretty incredible.
It was very incredible.
That was very cool.
But he went in, he got his points, he did what he was there to do.
Absolutely.
Then I took Banners and Long War. So Banners I got a 14 on, which is pretty strong. Really big swing late game when I was able to move out and put Banners up on all 5 objectives. So that was a really big swing. And then Long War I got 10 on, which was, there was 3 turns where I killed a unit and took control of an objective for 3 points each. And then in the last turn, I was able to kill a unit that was within range of an objective for that final point.
Plays in really well. I know you put out a video recently talking about the way Banners and Long War interact, and that was really cool to see it at the table.
Well, it's good to actually put some models on the table and showcase that because it actually, they seem intuitive, counterintuitive. They feel like they would fight with each other because one of them is hold the objectives and the other is let your opponent hold the objective and then push them off. So you'd think that they would fight against each other. However, basically what Long War does is what Banners does is it incentivizes your opponent to hop on the objectives, which is where you want them for Long War.
So you're putting Banners up, scoring points from them, and then I'm trying to desperately get onto the objective to take them off you again, which gives you more points for Long War.
Correct. So you're never going to max both of them if you take them at the same time, but you're going to get a pretty consistent 24, which I think is fine for 2 secondaries, getting an average of 12 each. As long as you can get 12 across all 3 of your secondaries, that's pretty strong. And that's basically, if you combine those 2 with Warp Ritual, you've got a pretty consistent way of getting 12, 12, 12.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good way to do it.
It's not as good as the Necrons who have the capacity to get a relatively easy 15, 15, 15. However, depending on the way that the fight happens, you can actually deny the Necrons quite consistently.
Well,
so
that definitely felt like that was what it came down to, because I came out hard early and scored massive points on secondaries early on, which is really cool to have the Necrons be able to do that now, because it's kind of a change up from where they used to play. But then when you actually came into me, you started hitting me, you took down both Ctans, both units of warriors, all at once, and it was sort of like, okay, now I no longer have the ability to stay on the objectives. I can't keep scoring them. And that's when you just come in, you score those points and take the game.
Yeah, dropping both the Ctans in one turn, that was a really big swing. And then just, the innate durability of that Terminator unit, that's, they survived to the end of the game.
It took so much firepower. The -1 to wound on them. I'm not sure if mathematically it's the biggest thing keeping them alive, but it felt really frustrating to deal with because every gun I put in them, like, oh wait, I can't wound them normally. I'm just losing shots.
That was very, very strong.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And the resurrecting models is obviously broken as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if it's broken. It's very strong. I don't think it's too much.
I think it's broken, but I think a lot of things are broken. I don't think it's any more broken than the average codex.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
it is broken.
Master of Possession Premium Chaos unit.
Yeah. So, those Terminators did really good work. I was actually pleasantly surprised with Obliterators. So this is a unit that I haven't traditionally ran, and it's something that I just thought I'd try out with this, with combo of Black Legion, because Black Legion aren't necessarily exclusively about combat. There's a lot of shooting components in the Black Legion list, so I was like, oh, let's try that out. And they put in a ton of shooting damage, and then they also went in and they punched the fucking Nightbringer in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And they just killed the Nightbringer, and then they went in and they killed, they actually did a lot of work. So
I really rated Obliterators in the last book as well. And then this book, they kind of got the Mutilator, combat punch rolled into their same data sheet, and they're just better everywhere. It's amazing.
They're very good units. So, I'm really happy with the Obliterators, happy with the Terminators, happy with the Demon Prince. Abaddon was an absolute monster.
Yep.
Even though we had the Nightbringer and there was this tricky thing where it's like, oh, what's going to happen there? I think the combination of being able to protect Abaddon behind your unit of Terminators means that the Nightbringer can't just go in like a missile and dig out Abaddon.
Exactly, yeah.
So that means that I'm able to put some various shooting into you, some psychic into you, and then go in and kill your Nightbringer before you kill my Abaddon.
It was a really good demonstration of how to put those successive layers of screening between the Nightbringer and Abaddon while still having those pieces doing something.
Yes, So... and then cultists, even the cultist unit that was sitting here doing nothing all game.
I like to imagine they carried their own couch onto the field and were putting the legs on it for the first couple of turns. They sat it up.
No legs. They're fucking Aussie bogans. They went to the op shop. They got a couch. They plonked it down and they got a fucking slab of VB next to them. And and they're watching Abaddon and they're like, woo! They're just smashing some cans. The cultists though, unsung heroes, because they're such an insignificant unit that your opponent doesn't want to have to dedicate firepower to dealing with them. When they're too busy dealing with Obliterators and Terminators and Legionnaires and Characters and Demon Princes and Raptors and there's all this shit in their backfield, they can't justify shooting them. But if they don't, they're just going to be sitting there scoring your primer every turn, raising your banners, doing your mission-based objectives, scanning your objectives. They just... really good value for 50 points. They just do so much. And even though there's the new accursed cultists, which a lot of people are raving about, they can't do actions. And in this game, I think actions are king. Action monkeys are so important. So,
being able to do that, especially with almost every mission having an action involved with it. So many secondaries need them. You just need things that can go out there and perform actions.
Yeah, so these cultists, they moved up, they raised a banner. That banner was up all game, so they got me 5 victory points.
6.
6.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's 5.
Five plus all the primary.
So that's 5 victory points. Plus they got me primary every turn for another 4 victory points every turn. So that's another 16?
Yep.
Plus they did the mission specific secondary and got another 3 points there. So in total, they got me half my fucking victory points from this one insignificant unit of cultists.
Yeah.
So
having that ability to do that's incredible.
Yeah. And then we did the same thing on the other one. So the cultists really they carry the weight in the purpose of scoring your victory points. And then the rest of your army is almost like a distraction kind of effects. You just throw the rest of your army at it and your opponent's going to be like, oh my God, Terminators. And they're going to fucking because they have to kill them. If they don't kill them, then you're going to just table them.
Exactly,
so, I think it plays really well.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the game would have been quite different had you got that first turn, because you would have been able to move in.
I would have been able to sort of set things up a little bit, get a little bit better position to take your charges.
Yeah.
To see you coming and sort of get good lines of fire going.
Yeah, so that could have been very different. And then had, a few small things went differently. It could have been a big change down that line, had the Catan survived, you would have been able to go, okay, cool, now I'm killing your Terminators, I'm killing your Obliterators, I'm killing, so
I've got this extra piece that you've got to worry about for the next turn, which is one of the big things that stops you just walking around with impunity and doing these actions, scoring these points.
So there was a few things that could have gone very differently, but all in all, I think it was a relatively balanced game, and it was really enjoyable.
It was fantastic. I had a lovely time playing. It's been quite a while since I've played a full 5 turn like that, so it was good fun.
which game did you prefer? The one that we played on your channel, Risky Rollers, or the one we played today?
That's an interesting one, because I do love my Necrons, and I had a fantastic time painting up the Nightbringer for this one.
Yep.
But I also do love a bit of Chaos.
Chaos action.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. So we did a battle report over on the Risky Rollers channel, so make sure you head over and check them out. I'll put links and shit in the description.
Cheers, man.
But yeah, we had World Eaters versus Red Corsairs in that one to really showcase...
Word Bearers, I think I had.
Word Bearers, that's right. My apologies. I knew it was a red one.
Not that I remembered the Word Bearers abilities, though, 'cause I kept forgetting those.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the challenge with the new codex, is there's a lot of things to remember.
But that was a great game as well. Had a fantastic time with that.
Yeah, so make sure you head over to their channel. Can tell us a little bit more about Risky Rollers. Tell us what they do.
Yeah, so we're Risky Rollers. You can find us on YouTube, where we do battle reports, podcasts, and content reviews. We also run events locally. So you came to our Risky Rollers Open recently, which is our most recent tournament.
Yep.
And you won that one.
Yes, the trophy's just behind us in the case there.
So that was very impressive. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So we run events. We run a local club. So twice a month we meet up down in Melbourne, and we play games, set out tables, and everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you find yourself in the Melbourne area, make sure you come down and check out the Risky Rollers stuff. And if you're watching this from overseas, just head over to their channels and check out their stuff. They do some really, really high quality battle reports. This is more of a garage game style, where we're doing it a bit on the cheap, bit on the ghetto. But yeah, the Risky Rollers guys, they've got a really nice studio with some really good quality stuff, some beautifully painted armies, and some high quality editing. So check out their battle reports if you want something of premium quality.
Cheers, mate.
Whereas if you want the El Cheapo shit, keep watching me.
No, but coming over here's been fantastic. You're an incredible player as well. Like, I've had the privilege of watching this man play at Maitland Team Championships and Australia-New Zealand Team Championships.
Yes.
And the amount I've learnt just by watching him play and playing against him like this and in practice games has made me so much a better 40k player than I was when I started that.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for allowing me to do that. And for you guys watching, this is where you want to be for your high-quality competitive Aussie content. If you want to learn Chaos stuff, this is your man.
Yes. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to leave you there. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, we'll hit you with the next one.
Walk for the Blood God.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented Neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not one, not two, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.